So what I
Yeah.
find interesting is that instead of going to the root of why you might have had some of this, well, some of this is just general boy eighth
Mm-hmm.
grade stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if there was other things going on, instead of getting to the root of that and maybe
Mm-hmm.
finding out why you might be doing some of these things or finding out
Yeah.
why some of this behavior is happening,
Yeah.
um, that was swept under the rug, and
Mm.
instead you were sent away. So I find that to be an interesting way to
Yeah.
go about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that would basically mean you finished eighth grade and then went to military school for high school.
Straight into military school, ninth through 12th grade. Yeah.
So what was that like? What like
It
when you
was,
arrived? What was the whole
yeah, good
getting there
question.
from your life?
When I was arrived, it was like, I mean, if you can imagine being a a nerd going to the Citadel, it was intense. It was all military. The only thing different was, you go to class instead of you go to work for 8 hours or 6 hours of the day or whatever it was. It was intense. It
So
was extremely military oriented.
okay, so what was your schedule? Was it, I assume it was regular core classes?
Yeah, so we wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and then we have room inspection. And then we have to have basically shower and shaved, and we have to have our brass shined, our clothes starched, our shoes shined, our belt buckles shined, our beds made with hospital corners, so you could basically bounce a quarter off the bed. Have to have the toilets clean, the shower clean, the floor clean, our lockers cleaned and organized a certain way. We have to have everything immaculate. We lived in barracks. We had concrete floors. We had doors and windows that didn't have weather stripping. It got super hot in the summer, super cold in the winter, and with floor heaters. And then we would have room inspection. After room inspection, we would go up to the blacktop for formation, where we would form up in our companies and our platoons, and we would go through morning inspection, which is individual inspection in ranks, where platoon leader, platoon sergeant, or squad leader would inspect us personally to make sure that we're shaved, everything's clean, brass shined, everything like that. And then we would march around. We have the companies who were in first place for the week, first place through fifth place. It was all about the administration going through the barracks and seeing which barracks were the cleanest during the week. And the first place barrack they could just walk right into the mess hall and eat one platoon at a time. The rest of the platoons, they would march around the blacktop until it was time for them, to go in. And and so after that, then we would have we'd have breakfast. We'd go back to our rooms for 10, 15 minutes at best, and then either we would be off to class or we would have morning assembly, where we would assemble in this church-like cathedral thing. And then after that we would have classes, and then after classes we'd have drill is where we have military oriented drill. Then we would have athletics. Then we would have free time for an hour or two. Then we would get dressed again in our dress grays, and go up to the blacktop for formation again, and march around until it was time for each platoon to eat. And then after that, after we ate, we would have study hall. Either if you kept your grades above C's, you could stay in your room and study for the rest of the night, or you could, and if you got a C or below, then you'd have to actually go to a study hall and study. And then TAPS was lights out was 10 o'clock.